Shawn Layden, one of the most well-known figures in the gaming industry, just spoke out about Xbox Game Pass and how he thinks it's not sustainable. Let's get into why this is a weird take and why Xbox is so far ahead of the competition. Because right now, we all know that Xbox Game Pass is going to change the gaming landscape forever. Yet will Sony catch up, and are other executives' understanding of what Xbox is truly trying to accomplish? Let's get into it. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to be notified on future content, hit that small little bell icon. It helps out the channel a lot. Alright, let's get into this pretty weird interview that Shawn Layden had after being basically silent for what seems like 2 years. If you don't remember Shawn Layden, he was the executive that was running North America PlayStation and is one of the big reasons why the PlayStation 4 was one of the most successful consoles we've ever seen. Yet he still lost out on the big job when he went head to head with Jim Ryan, who currently runs all of PlayStation. And this take about why he thinks Game Pass isn't profitable might be a reason why he lost to Jim Ryan in the first place. And let's be real, the departure wasn't nice and warm. In fact, Sony and Shawn haven't really talked about him leaving the company at all. Yet that doesn't mean he can't talk about the gaming industry today, where he talks about game development and how much it's gone up in price over the last several years and each generation, to the point where they have to pull back on what they're making. Here's what's said by Shawn Layden. "We're just getting people in the gaming world to spend more money," Layden tells us in the interview following his appointment to Streamline Media Group's advisory board. He continues, "With each console generation, the cost of games goes up 2 times. So PS4 games were 100 to 150 million. So it stands to reason that PlayStation 5 games, when they hit their stride, will be in excess of $200 million. It's going to be very difficult for more than a handful of large players to compete in that space. It's very hard to launch at a $120 million game on a subscription service charging $9.99 a month. You pencil it out, you're going to have 500 million subscribers before you start to recoup your investment. That's why right now you need to take a loss-leading position to try to grow that base. But still, if you have only 250 million consoles out there, you're not going to get to 500 million subscribers. So how do you circle that square? Nobody has figured that out yet." Okay, so this is one of the weirdest things I've heard from an executive that ran an entire company in PlayStation. And don't get me wrong, he did an amazing job with the PlayStation platform, but his logic just doesn't make any sense and the math is completely off. Here, let's break it down. So he starts off by saying cost of games goes up 2 times the amount of every generation. So if you spend $100 million on a game in the PS4 era, you'll probably spend about $200 million in the PS5 era. And the same logic goes to Xbox One to the Xbox Series X generations. And he's saying that you can't put those games in that subscription unless you have 500 million subscribers. So what you're telling me is that Netflix having 200 million subscribers just isn't profitable, considering a lot of their shows cost 100 million or even up to $250 million to make? But I digress. Let's say he's right. That games costing that much shows that you need more people to subscribe to that service. Well, that logic is the same for selling games. You have to sell double the amount of games if you want to make the money back of $200 million to $300 million. So let's say games like Days Gone sold 5 million and didn't even get a sequel, might I add. You'll need to sell 10 million next time for a sequel, which just isn't happening. And we can see that from exclusives. God of War sold about 12 to 13 million from the last I checked, and that number could have gone up. I could be wrong. Spider-Man, which was one of the most successful Sony games ever, had about 13 to 15 million and is probably rising. And that's what's funny about this. Those are their biggest games ever and had massive budgets. Now, what's even more intriguing is Phil Spencer and Xbox has already said that Game Pass is profitable for them. And let's be real, they had a plan to lose money for years, and I truly mean years for Game Pass. They knew it was going to be a loss, just like Disney knew Disney Plus was going to be a loss for them in the profit margin, and just like Netflix knew their service was going to have a loss in the beginning or the first 5 to 6 years. Yet instead, with their aggressive outlook, Xbox has got over 20 million people subscribed to Game Pass. At $9.99 a month, that's almost $200 million a month. Oh, and that's me being mild with that number, because I only made it $9.99, not $14.99, which the ultimate Game Pass is priced at, and which I'm actually subscribed to, and many people I know are subscribed to. So you're telling me $200 million a month isn't enough to fund those games, plus all the sales you get from people not on Game Pass? Oh, and the 30% percent Xbox and Sony get from third-party developers when they sell their games, and don't even get me started on microtransactions and all that money you get. To me, the magic number is going to be about 50 million subscribers where they make the most possible money from Game Pass. And after that, everything is gravy. It's pure profit. The more people they get into the service, the better their profit margins are going to be. That's just logical sense to me. Oh, and this wasn't even the funniest part about this interview. He also goes into diversity of games and having different genre of games when he says this: during the time, we have also seen more consolidation. Consolidation is the enemy of diversity in some ways. It takes a lot of playing pieces off the table as they grow into these larger conglomerates. And again, we end up with this problem with diversity. Okay, so this is a little bit of a jab at Sony, to be honest, because one of the biggest knocks on Sony games is that they're always the same type of game, third-person, over-the-shoulder games that people enjoy. But over time, there needs to be diversity in your games. So I think this is a shot at his former employer, because we know that Xbox has one of the most diverse game lineups we've ever seen. We have third-person shooters, first-person shooters, kid games, strategy games, and unique AA games. There's so many games on Xbox's side that are such different experiences. That same can't be said about Sony games. Oh, and he also brings up game publishers bringing up their price on their games to $70. Here's what's said about that. It seems that Layden that this more than just making sure the games industry grows financially. Shortly after his Game Lab talk, certain games publishers raised the price of their video games for the first time in 2 generations. But that doesn't solve the problem, Layden explains. But even that, it doesn't match the rate of inflation over the last 20 years. It helps, but not enough. And not enough to open up doors for new talent to come in. Again, the entrenched players are holding onto their market and trying to extract a little bit more value out of it. It doesn't solve the problem. Boom. So the price hike doesn't help the problem of games just costing more. Wouldn't a subscription service that gives you continued revenue help you out more? Oh, and wouldn't bringing out multiple AAA and AA games into that service help you even more because people want to be a part of that? That's something people don't realize, is that Xbox makes AA and AAA games throughout the year. Not every single game is a $200 million or $300 million game when it comes out. Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5 are far different budget-wise from Psychonauts 2 and other smaller titles we're getting into the service. That is the whole point of this. Shawn Layden is correct in saying there needs to be balance with publishers. And seeing that Sony wants to only concentrate on big AAA games might be a move that bites them in the end. Because like Ratchet & Clank only selling 1 million units in a month and Returnal selling 500k units reportedly, that's not enough to justify the budget those games must have had, which makes Sony feel like they can't take chances on games like that. That's why Game Pass is valuable to not only gamers, but to developers and publishers as a whole, and to small third-party publishers or even AA publishers. The constant revenue lets them take risks on games, and that's what we all want. New creative games that could turn into the next big hit. That's what the whole point of this Xbox and the Game Pass and all these subscriptions are for, to bring more people into the service, get people through mobile, get through people to the console or through PC. It doesn't matter the avenue of which they come to the service. All that matters is that they're playing games and being a part of the ecosystem and funding the publishers and developers that are making these games by supporting them through that service, because they get a check from Xbox, and every publisher and game developer that put their game on Game Pass, I'm guaranteeing you Xbox worked out a deal with them that was favorable to both parties. Xbox gets their subscribers and user base, the developer gets money. That's a nice little handshake deal that can go through the industry. And I think Sony's missing out on that kind of relationship where a lot of these games can go out to multiple people. Maybe that's what Shawn Layden didn't see. Maybe that's what Jim Ryan is seeing with all these studios he's buying to port to PC and also putting games into their services. Let's hope that starts changing and we see day-and-date Sony games go into a service like Game Pass, because competition, again, is king. But enough of what I think about all of this. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with what Shawn Layden said? Is he wrong about Xbox Game Pass? How could 500 million subscribers be the math behind being profitable? Is Xbox even making money at that point? Do you think huge games will hurt the gaming industry in the long run? Is diversity in genres important? Is this why Shawn lost out to Jim Ryan? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamer tag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I'm playing Space Hulk Deathwing. I know that's a random game, but man, is it fun. It has Xbox achievements on Windows, and it's a big Warhammer 40k game where you're just taking out a bunch of Tyriads and all this cool bloody fighting. Your first-person shooter with swords and rail guns, and man, it's insane. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I recommend everybody check it out. It's not as expensive as people think. I got it on sale for like $7, and I'm glad I did. It's a great first-person shooter that's high quality, that didn't get the attention I thought it deserved. So I'm having a lot of fun with that game. And I'm also playing Valhalla and a bunch of other games I'm getting ready for during the month, and I can't wait for Hades to come out on Game Pass later this month. But let me know where you're playing. Are you on your PS5, your Xbox Series X, or are you on your PC playing something? Let me know down below, because that's what we're here for. So talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.